far out. You guys are back again. I don't know why you keep coming back to my shitty channel, because it really sucks. It not only sucks, it sucks a suckload of suck. It's the suckiest suck of all sucks of all sucking time. But anyways, I do come up with some amusing shit with pedals now and again. So maybe that's why you keep coming back here. Or maybe it's the contact buzz you get from my stoner ass. Could be either. I don't know. Anyways, buddy of mine, Barry Steindel, runs an outfit called guitarpcb.com. And they, like many other people, have a delay based on the Princeton Technologies PT2399 Digilog pedal. We'll call it Digilog. It's actually a digital chip that they say is an analog delay, but it's not. It sounds kind of like an analog delay because it's got a low pass filter that you can't defeat, which kind of rolls off most of the high end. But anyways, I was looking at this thing last night, and it's like a nice sounding little pedal, you know? I mean, it's a useful, great sounding, easy to build circuit. I'm going to see if I can just sit that there while I babble and do what I do best. Damn. Good. So anyways, I was looking at the thing. I ended up putting like a really huge knob on for the feedback. So you can kind of step on it and turn it with your foot without killing the pot. Time, mix, very, very basic, simple. I'm turning it off and on, trying to make it pop. Anyways, I was looking at it, and then I was like, if I wanted to have tails on this, because I was thinking, most of the time, like, the delays I use on my live board actually have tails. And I was looking at this going, Jesus, everything's buffered. I should be able to just go and, turn the input to the echo part off and on. Well, the first thing I tried doing was I used a true bypass thing, and I moved the output connection from the board right to where the input is going to the output jack. Figured, okay, well, we'll leave the output always connected because I don't care if it's buffered because it's at the end of my signal chain. And then it came down to, okay, well, how do I get the dry signal to go through without it? So I left the jumper that everybody uses, the actual true bypass jumper, in place. Hang on, I got to take another toke. And that worked. But it wasn't really optimal because the loading from the signal then, of course, acted like many vintage effects and really took a lot of the guts out of the guitar signal. So I'm like, well, this ain't good. And I'm looking at it, I'm looking at the schematic, and I'm like, the easiest place to do this is there's a junction where C17 connects to R8 on the guitarpcb.com build document. So what I ended up doing was I moved the input wire from the input jack directly to the input pad on the board. I did the same with the output jack to the output jack pads on the board, thereby skipping the triple pole double throw switch that I'd normally use for true bypassing. I left the LED part intact, and what I did was, because I had enough wire to be able to do it, I clipped one end of R8, the end closest to C17. I soldered a little wire onto the piece of lead on the resistor on one side, and I soldered another wire right to the pad where it would normally connect. I ran those back to the foot switch with just like regular plain old hookup wire kind of crap, nothing shielded or anything. And lo and behold, I lost the true bypass. Like I said, I don't care because this is going to be at the end of my chain where it's handy to have a buffer as a line driver back to the board. It just makes for a cleaner signal. And I generally prefer to have tails on echoes. So what I ended up with was a guitarpcb.com delay pedal with tails. And it's buffered. It's buffered going in, it's buffered going out. So it's nice and quiet. And I put up the mods for this. It's on the guitarpcb.com forum. It's also on do-it-yourself stomp boxes and free stomp boxes. Exactly what you got to do. My buddy Mark Hammer. Hey, Mark, if you're watching this, shout out to you. And also Tom, who I was chatting with about this too on Aaron's forum earlier. Mark had suggested doing it a little bit different because they were concerned that you might get popping. I tried putting a pull-down resistor to ground, but I think but R5 to R8, or R7, excuse me, all kind of point to ground, and a couple of them have capacitors to ground coming off of them. And I'm assuming, and actually, the first place it hits is the low-pass filter of the PT2399. So I'm postulating that the click is actually getting absorbed by the circuit. Either those resistors and capacitors, because you got to figure in the resistance of the capacitors, the equivalent series resistance. I'm figuring either that's adding up to enough to go and work as a pull down, or the low pass filter actually has the cutoff to the point where it knocks out enough of the click where you wouldn't hear it. Because it was important to me that it didn't click. Right now, I'm using this little piece of crap amp that my brother Larry Willie gave me. And as you can see how it's set, I've got the gains up about 11 o'clock, volume's about 2, the slope controls cranked up about 2 o'clock too, bass is kind of rolled down, mid's up most of the way, treble up fucking all the way, and reverb up half. It's also set on the 1 watt position just to make my life a little easier. But basically, let's listen. I'm going to crank the amp full blast. Actually, it's not on the 1 watt position. It's on the 15 watt position. It's a little bit of a hum. I'm going to click it and see if we hear the click. I got a little click. The first time you click it, you get a little bit of a click. After that, I'm not really getting any as I turn it off or on. I'm going to crank the distortion up because that should amplify the clicking. With the distortion cranked, when I click it, I do get a tiny bit of a click, but not enough to really matter, I don't think. So it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. So hang on a second. The amp's about halfway. Well, I'm going to put the amp on about 10 o'clock. Lots of repeats. Pretty much what you're playing drowns the click out, most of it. I mean, that's with the distortion on the amp full blast. Bad chord making that happen. To me, it seems to work great. I mean, to me, it works great for what I need it for. I don't know. Just figured I'd share it with the world. I mean, it does work. I'm not going to say it's perfect. But if you want a cheap, easy way to make this thing, a little bit more versatile. And the guitar, of course, is dry during all that shit. So you can control it with your foot when it's on. It has to be on. Oh, apparently not. You can make it feed back on itself even if it's not. That I wasn't expecting, but hey, if it can excite itself, hey man, they say everybody does it. Anyways, that's the stupid pedal trick for the day. How to take a guitar PCB. Let me turn this fucking amplifier down so the hum's gone. How to take a guitarpcb.com delay circuit and give it tails. Now, granted, the pedal's always on. But what's nice is Barry puts like a little volume thing in it, so you can go and dial it in until it's either unity gain or even maybe giving yourself a little bit of a boost if you want to. Whatever. I just played with it last night until it sounded the same, plugging straight in with a guitar cord or playing through the pedal. The pedal does make it just a tinge brighter, but that's probably because it's a buffer and I'm playing through a coily cord. So the buffer's probably neutralizing the coily cord, making it a little bit more bright. But I think it works pretty good. You can control. It's kind of neat to be able to bring in the self-oscillation like by itself when it's in bypass. Because it appears to go and like just bring up whatever the last thing that you were playing is. So, I mean, that might be useful. I don't know. But try as I might, I really don't hear. I mean, when it's first turned on, it seems to click like the first one or two times that you go and bypass it. And after that, seems to be dead silent. So I'm going to take that as a win-win. Well, actually, you know what? Well, I'm thinking about it. We put the phone thing right in front of the amp. And understand, too, that these are some funky-ass basement chords. So that's with the gain cranked. There's just a barely detectable click. If the amp's down, all I hear is the click from the pedal itself. So anyways, I'm going to lay out at this point because I got a gig tonight and I got to take a shower and, get my life together and somehow pretend that I'm not like a worthless vagabond living in a basement fucking building weird, obscure noisemakers. And I want to wish everybody that might see this, all the best of health, wealth, and wisdom in the coming year and years, indeed. And be excellent to each other. Always work for equity for all. And catch you next time, Bill and Ted. Peace. Stupid pedal tricks out.